Hello and welcome back to your Puerto Rico Home Matchmakers. And today I am not on camera because I could not fit myself in this cute little area here. So that's okay. We are interviewing today Jay and Anita, who actually moved to Puerto Rico a couple years back. And I just wanted to kind of get their feedback on what they love so much about living in Puerto Rico and why you should move to Puerto Rico. So James and Anita, what prompted you to actually move to Puerto Rico?
So we started coming here in 2017, 2018. I actually started coming here in 2011. I'm a professional salsa dancer, retired. I had to retire after my second knee replacement. My mom and my dad were professional Latin dancers. So I found myself coming down here, loving it. We really decided, right before the pandemic, to start looking at moving here because I didn't find out until later that my family is from La Huiza, a part of the slave trade. And we just found ourselves coming down, visiting it started off once, twice, and then it started to 4 or 5 times a year. And then we just said, we don't really want to be in New Jersey anymore, so let's look at what it looks like to move to Puerto Rico. She'll tell you about her family, but for me, the music, the food, the culture, this is the only place that I've traveled a lot of places, but this is the only place that I've felt like was home. And being here definitely feels even more like that. So that was a little blurb of why for me.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And Anita, how about you?
Absolutely. I mean, so my mom's side of the family is Puerto Rican. My grandmom is from Caguas. My granddad is from Sidra. And I've always, I don't, really speak Spanish too good.
It's okay.
I'm one of those. But I've always been, drawn to our culture, to our food, and yeah, just something changed in me when I came down the first time in 2019. We came down together, and I just fell in love. I felt a calling to be here, and we both felt it.
Mm-hmm. It's a pull. It's hard to explain it, but the first time you come, and then you have to get that, and then you feel it when you go to leave, and you're like, I don't want to leave. I don't ever want to leave. And the truth of the matter is that you really don't have to. Right. Both of us came from corporate. We both worked at the courthouse. I was a probation hearing officer. I have my law degree. She was in the community department, the community liaisons department. They call it ombudsman. Probably not going to, you can talk more about that. They pretty much save the courthouses, but for everything. They handle all dockets, everything. I had the luxury of only working in family and working in juvenile, and we don't have to get into the boring stuff of what I did, but being here definitely has allowed us to reconnect with our roots and take some of the baggage off.
Okay. So you came in 2019. It called you here. When did you make the move? What year did you make the move?
2024.
So it took you about 4 or 5 years to actually decide, let's go ahead and do this for real, which is awesome.
I mean, I think we pretty much 2020 we were ready. Yeah. We were trying. We were looking.
Yeah.
And finding a buyer's agent.
It's very, very challenging.
It was very challenging.
And we found a really, really great one.
Yes. Yes.
Now we all attend church together. And if you guys need her information, Teresa can supply it.
Of course. And I'm going to just reiterate that because obviously I am a realtor here as well. And we met later after you met this great realtor, so it's okay. I'm going to give her kudos. But yes, and that's a huge challenge here with
Right.
real estate agents. Unfortunately, you know,
Right.
they don't answer the phone.
No.
It's
Or properties are gone.
or properties
Right.
are gone and they don't list it that they're already
They don't
pending,
update
so
it.
you're wasting your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
or
So
stuff is already under contract and you're like, oh. Like I remember one time we were looking at this specific house over in Fajardo Garden, and we were just waiting every day to see when it was going to be listed, and it was like for 9 months straight. Every day we were checking it. She would check it, I would check it, you know, we would all be checking it, and then they finally listed it, and it was gone
Like in a day.
And I was like, whoa,
How
what?
is that
How is that possible?
yes,
So
well,
it's-
properties here do go fast. They go fast, you know, so you have to kind of move on it really quickly, and that's why having a good realtor that actually responds to their
Right.
phone is important.
It's good.
Right.
But also, you know, what made you move to Fajardo in particular? I mean, was it just like a
You
random
take this
thing,
one.
or
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first time we came down, we actually stayed in Ceiba, right down the street.
okay?
And we just fell in love with the area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ferry is only about 5 minutes away. El Junque is not far. In the beaches here, Seven Seas,
yeah.
amazing. You know, you can go to Vieques, you can go to Culebra.
We love island hopping. Like we were intentional with our how we selected it. You know, the ferry is there, the small airport is there. You know, it has the climate. You know, when we thought Puerto Rico, you know, we thought tropical. And you know, if you know Puerto Rico, you got a little bit of everything. You got tropical, you got urban, you got desert. If you go on the west coast, and very rocky. You know, we both came from a town called Vineland. Growing up in Vineland, it's very, very little Puerto Rico. And they always talked about how, you know, it was like the South where everybody speaks and everybody's welcoming and everybody's, you know, loving and Christ-like. And so when we came here, you know, that's what we saw. That's what we were looking for. We knew that we didn't want to be urban, because the urban is like, I grew up a part of my life and I spent some time in New York City, you know, a major part of my life, my formative years. And I didn't want, you know, as I've gotten older, I've wanted more of this slower pace. I don't want the fast life. I'm okay with being able to, it's a drive away. And literally, it's just down the highway,
Yeah.
you know? So, and other than that, the beaches, the beauty, the food, the small town feel, the love for God, that's what we were looking for.
And you know, it's amazing that you mentioned that, because when I first moved here, obviously, you know, that's pretty much what I was looking for, to slow down and be somewhere a little bit, you know, slower pace. And
Right.
obviously, you know, the culture, because I am Puerto Rican myself. But, you know, those are the things that most people, when they move here, they look for, right? They look for. So if you were to say, you know, one thing that you would have done differently before you moved, what would that be? And I know that's a tough question because you're living in paradise. But, you know, I think that for myself anyway, I think that the way, you know, I made the move was an easier way of making the move, because I planned it, you know, like a year in advance. I planned it in a year in advance, and you know, so it made the transition easier.
Yeah.
So when you guys moved, did you already have an apartment here? I know you were looking for a home, but that didn't pan out the way you liked or the way you expected.
We initially started looking at purchasing a home. Working and navigating through the banks is a little challenging. Not on our end, just on the bank's end.
Coming
You know,
from the state, being still in the States.
yeah, being still in
And
the States.
trying to purchase
Yeah.
from, you know, here. Yes, very, very challenging.
Very, very challenging. I wish that Navy Federal was here, because working with Banco Popular or Trust Mortgage, the different ones, it's not impossible. It's just, you know, and I'm sure you'll fill people in, when you're purchasing here as a second home, it's a difference of percentage versus being a resident. So it's a 30% versus 3%.
Correct.
And so
Which is huge.
Which is huge. And so as we were navigating it and we had the funding, it was the houses, sometimes they don't appraise it the way that you want it, and the different nuances and things, that that you navigate. And shipping our stuff was probably, we had to downsize our whole apartment.
Oh yeah.
We were outside, we were working at the Camden Superior Court. We were living in a small town called Westville, and we were paying way more than what we were paying here.
For less than
what we have here. Including the view. And would we do things different? I think that if things were a little bit simpler, the process was a little bit more manageable. I think that would only be the only thing different that we would do. I don't think per se saying a do things different thing would be, I just wish that it was a little bit easier.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that, most people do struggle with when they're coming here and they're planning to buy when they first get here. So yeah, we understand some of, the banks and, those situations. But I really feel too that if you have the right person walking you through the steps to before you move, right? So my recommendation is always, think at least a year ahead.
Yeah.
So that way you can plan it correctly, and that way it'll be a much easier process than trying to just say, okay, I want to move to Puerto Rico today. How do I do it?
Right. And visit.
We did plan for at least a year.
Okay.
And we went through a lot of real estate agents before we found the right one. And like you said, harping upon having the right person, because, when she got involved, she really made this happen. Just like I know you'll make things happen for people, because other places they don't call you back. You send them emails, you ask them to do things. Even if just having the right person on the onset is 80% of it.
Definitely. And giving you like, okay, this is what you're going to find in this area. This is, just giving you that extra bit of information.
Right.
That
knowing the surrounding areas, knowing what's going on in that town, whether it's an up and coming area or whether it's, we like the campo, and, I like my piece, so I love the campo. I think I want more when we do go to purchase. I think I want more land and more,
less neighbors.
And less access. Like, I'm okay with being surrounded by, like, one of our friends, Miguel. He has a farm. I'm not exactly sure where it's at, but it's at the foothill of Yunque.
Fajardo.
And it's in Fajardo. It's at the foot of the Yunque. It's right near Hacienda Chocolate. And, and he has a portion of it is his home and the rest of it is all farm. And he's like, I love that. Like, I love nature. I love that feeling. I love that relaxing, the coquis, the wind, I'm good without all the buildings and stuff like that, and like I could go camping on my own land and stuff like that, or, wherever we choose. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, everything about it.
If you want to visit, the city, it's a short
trip.
Exactly. No, and I agree totally that, a little land always feels more, like you're more in tune with nature.
Right.
But here, the beautiful thing about this area, that we live in is, first of all, you have the beaches and you have the mountains.
Right.
So you have the best of both worlds, really minutes away, because you can, turn to the left and you see all the mountains, and you turn to the right and there's the beach.
Exactly.
So I think this is a good area because it offers both.
It does.
And then the wind, like, it's a nice strong breeze.
Yes.
So it keeps it. We've found that I know Fajardo can be a little bit hotter sometimes, but it also can be very cooler than other places. Like, we've driven from here to there, not Fajardo, but from Ceiba to, San Juan, and it's a 10-degree difference.
Oh, yes.
So it's
Yeah, and I mean, the beautiful thing about this area too is that it's close to the coast. It's very close to the water. So close, but not, like sitting on the water.
Right.
So you do have that at least a little distance, which is great for me anyway. So what if you were to tell someone moving to Puerto Rico or thinking about moving to Puerto Rico, what is one thing you would tell them?
Just do it.
Just do it.
If you feel the pull, if you feel like this is where you want to call home, you'll find every reason to not.
Right.
Find the reason that you want to, and latch onto that. I was talking to a friend of mine. I went back, recently. My mother passed away, unfortunately, and I went back to New Jersey to handle her affairs, and I ran into people that I grew up with. And they were like, "Oh, I see you moved to Puerto Rico." And my friend Miguel, he was like, "Oh, I always wanted to move there." And his wife was saying, "Well, I want to move there. Clasificados, this and that." I said, "If you feel it, just do it. Just do it, because now's the perfect time. All eyes are looking here. Puerto Rico is a great transitional space. Whether it's either side you're looking, it is paradise, and we make it better."
Yes.
We make it better.
Yes.
I for me, I will say one of the things, being in New Jersey,
Depressing.
it's so depressing. The cold, the cloudy, it's just so many days that it's pretty gloomy, and you look forward to summer, and then summer's over so quick. And
you spend the whole week working, and then you're like, I'm gonna go to the beach on the weekend, or I'm gonna go do something on the weekend,
then
and it just rains. At least when it rains here, you wait 15 minutes,
and then it's gone.
It's gone. Or you just play in the rain, bro. There's been plenty of times I'm like, all right, whatever.
Anyway.
We just get wet anyway, so whatever.
But waking up here and and seeing the palm tree, like I wake up and every day I am thankful.
Grateful.
I am so thankful.
Yeah.
I say thank you, God, every day. I have such a peace here, and I don't regret it for a minute.
At all.
It's
an adjustment. Everybody drives slower, which is nice because driving 90 or 100 miles an hour. I have race cars and I like driving fast, and I'll soon be bringing those, and we can talk about like that process of shipping things and stuff like that.
Of course,
cars, property, things of that nature. We could always do a part 2 follow-up.
No, actually, I'd love to hear a little bit now, because I know that was one of the things that now I recommend to people is just bring your luggage. Because by the time you pay for shipping costs and pay the taxes here, sometimes that amount of money that you pay, especially if you're coming from up north, is more than you would spend on just new furniture.
Right. And that's exactly what we did. We ended up selling all of our furniture, donating some of the furniture. We kept the things that were important, family photos, family things that we knew that we couldn't replace.
Right.
And we downsized. Let me tell you about that.
Yeah, downsized quite a bit. But I look back and I'm like, what did I even have? You know what I mean? And I feel like if it's that important, that's the stuff you take.
Yeah.
Or you take pictures of it, or you give it to somebody who feel like you would take care of it. Right, and you bless someone else. But we did it 2 different ways. So we did use Rosa del Monte. Yes. And that was actually a good process.
Very good experience.
We had no problems whatsoever. We did take our stuff to the location in Philadelphia. I think you can also arrange that they'll pick it up from your house, but we took it to them.
And we only took it to them because we were down to the wire. We literally made the decision that we said, you know what, we're not going to renew the lease, because it went from like $2,100 to almost $3,000 for the same complex we were living in. And my office was investigating a lot of the stuff that was going on. And I was just like, you know what are we here for? You know, and so you know, so that we only we like she said, you can have them arranged to come and pick it up, or you can drop it off. Either way works. Our circumstances, we just dropped it off, and then they you know, 8 weeks later they delivered it here in Puerto Rico. I mean, we paid the taxes from Hacienda, you know, but other than that, and then also we brought stuff, our immediate stuff. We had boxes that we brought on the plane.
On the plane.
And so we just paid for boxes to be checked luggage.
Yep.
They destroyed the boxes. But
they will open everything and go through it.
Make sure that you have a ledger of what you have in there, just in case things are missing. When you do get them, you can always contact the airlines and have them go back and replace.
Or just bring more big luggages.
But you know, the boxes from Home Depot, the large boxes, not the extra large, but the large boxes. You can't do the extra large because they'll charge you extra money. But the large boxes do classify as checked bags, and you can pay for them to be overweight. But if you buy them too big, you'll have to pay for overweight and oversized. So we decided learn that the hard way.
Exactly. So really, your move was, you know, you called the moving company, you took them, you know, whatever you were going to ship here. And so cars, did you ship a car here or did you buy a car here?
We purchased a car here.
Yeah, which is a good idea too.
Right. So we sold both of, we sold both of our cars. I still have race cars in New Jersey than what I have shipped here. I have a Skyline and I have an RX-7, and I can't wait for them to be here. We just need a space, because, you know, I don't want them to just be outside.
Yes, good idea.
So, but, and we can go over that process. But yeah, you know, everything is a process, and you know, getting familiar with it is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I think that once you go through that initial process, now you can actually help others because, you know, now that I'm a real estate agent, you know, and I went through the process of moving here, it's easier for me to explain to people, look, this is the first step, this is the second step, this is where you're going to go first, this is where you're going to go second, this is where you need to get your license, this is the process of getting your license. You know, so it is easier once you move here, and knowing that, you know, you have someone that you can, you know, ask those pertinent questions. Like I have, you know, clients that'll ask me, I had one yesterday, and you know, just simple things. You know, she's got like 5 kids, and she's like talking about moving into the mountains, and I'm like, okay, which is great, I love that idea, but do you want to be 30 minutes to an hour from a hospital when you have little kids? So you know, it's making sure that they understand. And obviously she didn't even think about that. She says, oh my God, you're absolutely right, I don't want to have to drive 30 minutes.
It's the little things that you don't really think about that you kind of. All right, so I'm just saying, like, island living is different from the States.
Absolutely.
And you have to plan for it. You have to be ready, but it's 100% worth it.
Oh, I agree.
Like,
it is. And you just have to get used to, you know, it is island time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I tell everybody. Island time, island life.
And don't shy away from that. Just
you'll adjust. You'll adjust to the island life once you are here continually. It's different vacationing versus living.
Oh yeah.
Living is it just hits better. Like it's just it's like
you don't have to get on a plane and go back to cold weather.
Like, you know, our daughter is a fan of Drake, and he has that song, you know, and it's like, you know, here for a good time, but we say we're here for a good time and a long time. You know,
that's a great quote. So right now, you know, you're here, you're loving it, you know, you have great advice for people moving here. You know, if how is it for you now? Like, have you been through any storms yet, or any power outages, anything of that nature?
So we were here for the power outage of when we lost power, the whole island lost power for New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve,
But I tell you what, the New Year's fireworks were amazing. The light pollution is not as bad over here as it is in other places, but you learn to live with it. Like, you know, the power goes out, we go to the beach.
Yeah, and
or
the
we
great
go-
thing
or we
is,
go-
you know, there's
It's
places
true.
that have generators. You know,
Yeah.
as long as you have a generator, you're
Or
prepared.
solar. Unfortunately, our complex here doesn't allow. We would love to have solar. I think solar is definitely the way to go.
Right.
It's cleaner. But you know, if we could, and when we do purchase in the future, that's what we're going to be looking for. Is something that's more grid friendly. But you adjust to it. It
Yes.
just, you know, don't find every reason to not. Find the reasons to do
Okay.
it.
And, you know, and
Yeah.
one of the other questions I get a lot is, well, Teresa, you know, like, I only speak English. I barely speak Spanish. So tell me your experience here being on the island and not speaking Spanish.
You take that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can still get by. There's plenty of people that speak English, but you know that you definitely need to learn and
Right.
try.
Right.
And I
And
think
people will help you.
they help. Yeah.
Like if they see you trying, for the most part, because sometimes, you know,
Other
but,
times.
but for the most part, as long as you show respect and as long as you try, like I was in Icanos and the lady, she was saying something and I was like, I missed that one part. And she was like, well, what part did you miss? And,
Yeah.
you know, she was like, well, how can I, you know, help you? Because I speak Nuyorican from the barrio. You know what I mean? So it's not proper Spanish. And even if I do speak some proper Spanish, then they're looking at, what? Like, but you'll pick it up. So just try. It's not that big of a deal. Most times people speak English and Spanish.
Yeah.
There are electronic options that you can use to translate. I love our church because our church is in English and Spanish. That's an obstacle that's easily overcome.
Yeah, and that's what I say to people too, because you know, everywhere you go here, there's somebody who speaks English. You know,
Right.
it doesn't matter if it's the supermarket, the restaurants, the hotels.
Yeah.
You know,
Even
pretty
if
much
they
anywhere.
have to go grab somebody, you know.
Exactly,
like-
to translate.
Or
Exactly.
like you're a little bit of Spanish
Yeah.
and they're a little bit of English.
Yeah.
Like you guys
That's
can.
usually how most
That's
people are. Like,
Spanglish.
Yeah.
they'll speak a little bit of English, you speak a little bit of Spanish, and
Yeah.
you work together and
You figure it out.
and you figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, and we've now found ourselves speaking more Spanish than English.
He's better. I get so nervous. I do. I gotta get over
Like
that.
deer with
though.
her
like-
eyes in the headlights, like what? And I'm like, I was like, control the narrative. Just you open the conversation, you lead it, you know. And if you get mixed up, switch to English because a lot of times the way the slang is here, you know,
Yeah,
you can use
it happens
both. It's
anyway.
exchangeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love too, because you know, one of the things that, you know, even when I do some videos, obviously we're doing this one in English. You know, people say, well, you know, you're Puerto Rican, how come you're not speaking Spanish or doing the videos in Spanish? But in reality, you know, which I've said it in my previous videos, my goal is to reach to the Puerto Ricans who left the island,
Right.
And
come back.
really,
Right.
we're trying to get them back
Yes.
Right.
for two reasons. One is because, you know, if they don't do it now, they won't be able to afford to come back.
That's true.
And just to come back to their roots and their culture, and even if they have to bring their grandkids, you know, because that was the other thing, you know, kids, there's homeschooling. So people ask me for, you know, homeschooling for children and you know, how is the school system for,
Right.
you know, the schools, they have teachers that speak English, you know, and so it's a great place, and I love that you guys are loving it here. I know, like you said, we love our church. Crown Outreach Ministry, guys.
Yes,
if you
guys,
need a
come to Crown.
in
We're not just a
Fajardo.
church. We're not just a church. We're a family.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. The dogs are getting excited.
Okay.
Come on.
So I just wanted to thank you both for
Thank you.
you know, allowing me to come here and really for you to share your experience, because I think that people really need to know how beautiful Puerto Rico is.
Yeah.
And the best thing too is, you know, it's still, you know, you still have the American benefits in a sense, right?
Right.
Because you have
Right.
Home Depot, Walmart, you know, you have all the
All
big
the- all the
big
stores.
stores, all the chains for the most part, you know, the food chains. So it's really a little piece of Puerto Rico, I mean, of America, but on an island.
Paradise.
In paradise,
I would
exactly.
say it's like the town that we grew up in 50 years ago. It still has all of the conveniences, but there's also a love and a cherishment for the island.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's what we wanted. You know, we wanted to reconnect to our ancestry. You know, we wanted to, you know, be amongst and be that portion that came back. Because a lot of our grandparents did. You know, let's not act like in the 50s, you know, people moved away to find better jobs. That doesn't mean that we're not Puerto Rican because we weren't born here. You know, we still, you know, fly it just as much, you know, and you know,
and sometimes if not more, sometimes
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 like, I mean,
I get that.
The parade in New York City is like in Camden and in Philadelphia, you know, I mean, it's, you know, the pride is there, you know, so just because we weren't born here doesn't mean that we aren't, you know. Be a part that comes back, be a part that reconnects. And for me, you know, my biggest thing is, you know, we were slaves sold here. So I want to go beyond just Puerto Rico. I want to find out what tribe we were in Africa as well, you know, because we were taken from Africa, brought to Puerto Rico, sold here, and then transitioned to a plantation in Georgia, like the Bob Marley song.
There you go. So finding out the history is important. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, guys. I so much appreciate you taking the time to just share your experiences, your love for Puerto Rico, you know, the way you wanted to just move here and experience it. So guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with other people that you may think might be looking to move.
We have a channel.
Okay, they have a channel. What's your channel?
My channel, so it's One True Zilla. I'm on it's after my cars because I do a lot of car content, and I'm going to be posting more you know, Puerto Rico content. So it's the number 1 TRU Zilla, because everybody that knows Skylines knows Godzilla.
I will share that in the caption on the bottom of this video so you guys can check it out and subscribe to their channel too. Let's support each other. And again, thank you so much. And guys, we will see you next time on the Puerto Rico Home Matchmakers with our next interview of why people move here to Puerto Rico. Thank you so much.